there were these jury trials that you've mentioned on your website as well, and I'm going to get to the most exciting part of it, which is the whole Doctor Death case, which was so fascinating to read about. I think I went a little fangirl on
There he
it,
is.
but
There's my
wow.
buddy. There he is.
His
So-
handwriting is so stunning.
And this is what happened in this case, is that just a few days before we went to trial, they changed it from assisted suicide to first-degree murder. And that's why Jack, in the end, ended up going to jail. Jack said, listen to the words. It is a good death. A good death. He said, just go to sleep. And that's all he wanted. Go peacefully. Go peacefully. So that's what he asked for. And you may not approve of what he did or approve. I mean, he just thought that this is for you and your family and your religion and your God and your doctors. So he knew he was going to be convicted, because if you murder somebody, there's intent. So he didn't intend that the man die, but the man died with a direct injection. So they changed what he was being on. He was on trial for first-degree murder, and he was convicted of second-degree because of the intent. But he wanted to go, and that we never expected. This little old man, he didn't weigh more than 80 pounds, went away to jail for almost 9 years. 9 years.
You know, when you shared his handwriting, there was one alphabet in particular that really just jumped out at me after I read his story. There were a bunch of other things in the writing, but how do you interpret that, the S that he has, the small s? And I noticed that everywhere the words that are ending with S, they have a sort of a ending stroke going into the S. And I found that so amazing for his particular story, because that S is something we interpret as someone who's very big-hearted with a lot of, kindness and generosity of spirit. And that with an ending stroke in the context of, his whole story was really fascinating to me.
Well, I would, because it's small, I mean, this man is an introvert. He is what we refer to as a converted introvert. You know, that an introvert is somebody who has reflection before expression. So he was always thinking, he always gathered his data, familiar with this converted introvert expression. And then he was big when he was loud when he was with the media and things like that. So that I know at the heart of things, he was an introvert. He didn't like people. I mean, he liked our family, but he really didn't like people a lot, and he wanted to do his own thing. So I would interpret that S with the point on it as just somebody, I refer to him as mentally gymnast. When you find a person who puts humps in his writing and points in his writing and needle points, I refer to that as a mental gymnast. I mean, this guy could solve problems. He spoke 7 languages. He did it all. And so this S at the end had a point on the S. And I would just get that to he's always analyzing and taking things apart. And the little tiny dash, that if you push the dash out very far, it's caution. It's caution. And so sometimes a person who would, it's like putting your brakes on a little bit before you get to the stop sign. And sometimes he would do it because I don't think he was as sure of himself as he was when you saw him on the media. He tended to do his own thing. But if you look at this handwriting, remember this statement, and someday I will talk to you about what it takes to be a visionary. And I do believe that Jack was a visionary. A visionary is somebody who sees the invisible and he does the impossible. And I said, you don't have any material needs, big loot. There's nothing exaggerated in Jack's handwriting. He said to me, you know what? The more you are, the less you need. The more you are, the less you need. I went, whoa. Does he need girlfriends, cars, money? He needed nothing. He just needed a cup of coffee and a slice of white bread. Jack was happy. That's all he needed.
Wow.
That's all he needed. And he would be very pleased to know that 10 states now acknowledge the person has the right to make choices at the end of their lives. So,
wow.
So I think it's exceptional. I think it's an exceptional writing when a person can be their own person He's not influenced by a lot of outside influence. We have the independent eye in his writing. We have a lot of speed in his writing. And as I said, I describe him as mentally gymnastic. And he just could solve anything. He could fix anything. Everything that was broken in my house, from lamps to doors, he fixed while he was here. So he was a good guest.
Great guest, actually.
You can do with the handwriting whatever your imagination allows you to want to venture into, whether it be hiring, whether it be entertainment, whether it be, the juries, whether it be the forensics. There are many opportunities only limited by your own imagination and how to use it. And then, I'm not saying don't do it without your knowledge, training, and experience.